All right, kind of switching subjects here. I wanted to have this conversation with you on the podcast because we had a text thread about Vince McMahon the other day. And okay, let me preface this. There's been a lot of rumor and innuendo about Vince McMahon, his legal troubles, the way they're gonna almost settle with the Janelle Grant stuff, and that's maybe kind of leading Vince McMahon back into the fold of WWE. Okay, if this was 2 years ago, even last year, I would have said there's no way Vince McMahon comes back. There's no way. He's such a disgraced individual. There's no way that TKO brings him back. But for several reasons here, look at let's look at it this way. Let's look at the way TKO runs their business. They don't give a flying F of who they bring in, right? As long as it pops a rating, as long as it brings in money, they don't give a flying F. They brought back Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar, yes, he wasn't directly the guy involved in that case, but he was named in that lawsuit, right? And they brought him back. And so they brought him back at a time when all this wasn't even ended yet. They brought him back. Look at the way TKO runs their business in terms of their
Yeah.
greed.
And there's another thing that I want to mention. I don't know if you saw it, but Ari Emanuel also said a Vince McMahon return is not impossible.
Right. There you go. There you go. But look at is it morally wrong for them to bring back Vince McMahon at this point? Yes, you can argue that. I just think that TKO doesn't give a flying fuck about
And,
morals.
and the thing is, it's like if Vince comes back, is he gonna get treated like Hulk Hogan? Is he gonna get booed?
Yeah.
Is he gonna get a pop? Like again, like it's like you said, if this was a year or two ago, no way.
Right.
But now, especially after Ari Emanuel said that, do I think it's gonna happen? Still no. But you can't rule it out.
You can't rule it out, and that's all I'm saying here. Do I do I wish that Vince McMahon is back with the headset on and running creative? Hell no. We look at the last several years Vince McMahon was under the helm of creative. It was dog shit. And the reason why I bring this up is this. Recently, JBL and Teddy Long and several other people have vocally expressed that they want to see Vince McMahon back in a power position in WWE, running creative or CEO, whatever they want. Like they want to see Vince McMahon back in a leadership role. And I'm thinking, why the would you want that? Like,
And, and at the same time, too, he sold most of his stake, so he barely has any say now anyway.
well, he's still, I think, one of their majority shareholders. Is
Yes,
so,
but he
but
but it's not enough for him to like
right. So the last
over
time,
power. So it's like
so
regardless, he still doesn't have enough of a say to be in a position of power.
So in 2022, when Vince originally retired, it was because the Janelle Grant stuff started coming out, and he was basically talked into a retirement. But then several months later, in early 2023, he used his majority shareholding power to get the shareholders to get him back into the company. Now they had a meeting. They had a meeting in which they agreed upon bringing back Vince McMahon, and it was almost unanimously no. I believe I forget who was the only
So
person that said
it was unanimously no.
okay, it was.
It was unanimously no.
All right. Regardless,
At least for him to be, I think it was for him to be back in like the position he was before.
regardless, that really didn't matter because Vince McMahon overturned that and overpowered that situation, and he was back running creative by WrestleMania of that year. In fact, if you read into the scripts of not the scripts, but like the legalized documents of this lawsuit, they were using a platform I believe called Signal. Um, they're using a platform called Signal to basically communicate with each other. Ari Emanuel, Vince McMahon, basically they were using it to communicate on how they were going to run creative. Um, Text messages were sent again, and then text messages were deleted. And that's what kind of brought up this whole new lawsuit in terms of Vince McMahon and Ari Emanuel deleting evidence for the lawsuit. But in those text messages, Vince McMahon was texting Triple H, I believe, saying, "Hey, has Cody and Roman, something about their upcoming like promo or their match at WrestleMania, something in that regard of like, um, they need to focus on what was it? Basically, they're using Signal to kind of use the creative for their upcoming WrestleMania match, and then you know, several months later, Vince McMahon is back in running creative with Triple H and WWE, and that's how it was like that for the rest of the year. It was like that for the rest of the year, and it was only up until I believe again the Wall Street Journal started bringing out more stuff about the Janelle Grant case when Slim Jim decided to pull out. They decided to pull out of their newly agreed upon sponsorship with WWE. And so, if it wasn't for that, Vince McMahon would still be in a leadership role within WWE. So,
Yeah, so it's crazy that because they were afraid it's going to cause a domino effect. They're like, because what if our other sponsors pull out and then boom, we're losing a ton of money. So pretty much Vince became the scapegoat, and they're like, well, Vince, you got to go.
right. Yeah.
It pretty much got to the point they're like, Vince, if you care and love this company so much, you will leave.
Right. Right. Exactly. It was basically, it all came down to the money. It was like, hey, Slim Jim is going to cost us millions of dollars cutting out of their sponsorship. Your
Yeah.
ass needs to go.
And it's one of those things, it's like, who's next? Who's gonna be the next to pull out?
Right.
Are people gonna be afraid to try to have a sponsorship with us?
Right. Right.
So yeah, so inevitably Vince became the scapegoat in all of it. So he left, basically to save face, but also save the company money. Um, but yeah, when you look at it, talk about it today, do I see Vince coming back? No, I don't think there's a reason or a point for him to come back.
Yeah.
Um,
There's, look
and
at,
especially people like, oh, for the Hall of Fame. No, because Vince himself has says he does not want to be inducted in the Hall of Fame while he's alive.
look, do I see it happening? I think that anything is possible. I think that as long as there's rumor and innuendo about it, there's always going to be smoke to this fire. And if they continue to bring his name up, if they continue to be like, oh, time has passed, oh, we can bring him back,
Yeah,
then,
it's
then
one of those things. I feel like he's not as blacklisted as he once was. But go ahead, finish your thought.
yeah,
Sorry.
I think like as long as they're continuing to just be like, well, maybe it's a possibility, then I think like the chances of him coming back are real. And I think do not be surprised. I'm telling you this right now. Do not be surprised if we ever see Vince McMahon on WWE television again, because I think that's a real possibility. I think it is.
And yeah, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. It's just I didn't want to lose my train of thought. But my train of thought is like he's not as blacklisted as he once was. Remember, they wouldn't say his name. They blocked him out from everything.
Yeah.
And one thing that I don't know if you noticed it, but I noticed it because I was there when I was at John Cena's retirement match. Vince was in the video package.
Yeah. I mean, they showed that on TV.
They showed him clearly in the video package,
Right.
which made me start to think. I was like, okay, he's not as blacklisted as he was before. This
Right.
doesn't mean he's coming back, but it goes to show, like, okay, see, they're not entirely erasing the dude from their
Right.
history.
Right. Sorry.
But,
Sneeze.
but yeah, but so bless you. But that's another thing I want to take as like another sign of like, see, even that I feel like that also opened the door because it's like, look, they're not erasing him entirely.
Right. They're not.
Because if it was really that bad or way worse, they would have cut him off. They would have cut him out that video package.
Look, if it was never a criminal case. It was never a criminal case with Vince McMahon. He was never going to jail. He was never going to do time. It was never any of that. And so it was always going to be a situation where they're going to let this court case ride out. This lawsuit. It was a lawsuit. They're going to let the lawsuit ride out, and however it dealt, they were going to just let it be. And look at we all kind of knew that maybe it could be settled in court. And unfortunately, it's looking like that. Janelle Grant has already pulled out in very many different ways of this lawsuit, and so they're just basically looking at a settlement now, and that's going to be it.
And is being moved behind closed doors, which usually means a settlement is.
Right. And that's it. And after that, Vince McMahon is going to be not a free man. I mean, he's already a free man, but like, it's going to be put behind him and who knows? I mean, but look at this. The guy's also what, 81, 82 years old?
80 years old.
80 years old,
We're not saying he's gonna buy the company back. No way in hell is he buying the company
No,
back.
that's not
I
happening.
don't even I don't even think he can afford to.
There's no way he's buying the company back. Um, I mean, he could buy another wrestling company that could be for sale. TNA.
There were rumors that he was gonna start his own company,
Right. Yeah.
but I don't know if they ever went through with that or if it fell through, but yeah, you can't rule out if Vince McMahon returned. Do I think he'll be like an authority figure? No. Will he be in a position of power?
No.
No.
But on screen,
It'll just be to a point where like you might see him every now and then.
could we see the skunk haired, mustache looking guy on TV again?
He would
It's a
not.
possibility.
He would probably be like he would probably go back to the way Mr. McMahon was, how we last saw him, which is like gray hair, no mustache.
Yeah, probably.